Hi guys, today we'll be looking at ADS layout design. In our previous videos, we've looked at the schematic circuit, how to build and simulate in ADS schematic. Today, I would like us to focus on the design layout, which is basically moving closer to what we expect in real life. So at the end of this lab, I expect every person that have listened to this video to be able to use the ADS layout window. You should also be able to build any design that you've made. It could be a filter, an antenna, power divider, whatever it is that you've designed, you should be able to implement using ADS. Okay, and then there are a couple of commands that I plan to show you how to use today, like how to draw, to edit, modify, move, how just basically play with the layout window to be able to achieve any design of your choice. Now, I just also mention that ADS is basically not some is just like any other design software. If you are used to working with CAD software tools, you should be able to work with ADS. So it's a matter of showing you some of the steps how to navigate through the system. So I'm sure at the end of this video, we would have learned a lot. Now, can I also remind you to subscribe to this channel as I will be uploading several videos on how to use ADS to achieve optimum results. So if you have not subscribed to this channel, this is the time to subscribe. Click on the subscription button and then select the notification button so you will be notified each time I upload a new video. So let's get started with what we have today. Now, the first thing you need to do is to launch ADS. Okay, so I'm just going to type ADS. So you launch your ADS. You can see, as I explained last time, that I'm using ADS 2022. However, this activity that we're going to carry on today can be performed using ADS 2011 up to date. So if you have ADS 2011, 12, 13 up till 2023, you should be fine with this activity. Now I've launched my ADS. So the next first thing I'll do is to create a workspace. I go to File, New, Workspace. So for this workspace, let's call this workspace let's just say layout. So layout, yeah, let's just say layout design. Please don't forget, as I mentioned earlier on in my last video, no space in the name. So when you type the layout name, please do not allow any space. You can notice that I've used underscores instead of space. Okay, so you click on create workspace. Now we have this workspace named layout design. So we're going to build the design I showed earlier on. Let me just go back to that design. We're going to be building this design here today. When we finish building it, it's going to look like this. Then, of course, I'm going to have another video where we'll simulate the design to see. Now, this is actually a band pass filter. It's a three-pole band pass filter. You can see this is the first pole, second pole, and the third pole. And then we'll have the input and the output ports. Okay, so today we're using a hairpin resonator for this design. You can also use different resonators or different topologies to design your filter. So our task today is to show you not how to design the filter, but how to implement the filter in the layout window. Okay. So I will just go back to my ADS, which I've already launched. Now, the next thing we need to do is to create a cell that we in this window where we're going to design, put in our design. So we need to create a cell. So how do we do that? Yeah, there are two ways you can do that. There's a shortcut here. If you can just create new layout window here. This is a shortcut. Alternatively, you can say File, New. Now you can see where it says new layout. Okay, so if you go, you can go this way or just click on this icon here and it takes you straight to the new layout cell. Now we need to give this a name. For this test, let's call it layout, or let's just call it a band pass filter layout. Okay, so I can say layout again, no space, band pass filter layout. So I can just create layout. Now, once you click on the create layout, you notice that you have to select what technology you need to use for measurement. So choose layout technology. So, well, here in the UK, we normally use millimeters. So I will go with millimeters. You can see here, standard ADS layout in millimeters. So I'm going to select millimeters and I will say finish. So that means whatever I'm drawing in ADS, it will be measured in millimeters. Okay, so don't forget you are free to choose any measurement scale that you are used to. Now we have this ADS window. All we need to do now is build our design. So build your design. That's all we need to do for today. So we're not doing anything more than just building our design. Now, to build your design, all you need to there are different tools. You can see different tools here. Don't forget, our target is to build this design. So we'll build the design and of course simulate it in our next video. So all these dimensions you see here are in millimeters. So this is 1.1 millimeter, 6.0 millimeter. So all the dimensions here are in millimeters. So you need to take note of that. So I'm going to go back to my window here, to my ADS window, and the layout window, and start the design now. But before I do that, I need to make some settings. So I need to make some settings to ensure that I'm able to move. Like all these lines here, we need to know how far is this dot to that dot. So how to do that is to go to your options and try to set preferences. So if I go here, if I go to options here, if I click on options, and then I can say preferences. Okay, so here click on the grid snap. So here we need to set up what we want. At the moment it's 0.1, that which is good. That means the little lines here, each of these line squares here was 0.1 by 0.1 millimeters, and then we'll have 2 millimeters, meaning that this other one is 2 millimeters wide. So we can leave it at 0.1, 2, and 5. That's fine. Alternatively, you can also decide to go with 0.2. Don't forget, you can always come and change this each time. Now, what this simply means is that your design, when you start making your design, you can only move your design by this distance, so 0.1. So let's leave it at 0.1. I think it's easier to move 0.1, 0.2 in your design. So I'm going to leave it at that. I say apply and okay. Okay, now that's all I need to do in my settings. The next thing now is for me to start building my design. Again, this is what we are building. Okay, so I'm just going to go back here. Here we need inside rectangle. We need a rectangle. Well, just click on the rectangle, then draw. Just click anywhere on the screen and draw a rectangle. Okay, and then once you click a second time, you have your rectangle. Now you use escape as usual to end command. You just click end command here, so you can end command. Now you have this rectangle, but going back to our design, we need to have, let's say we're drawing this hairpin here. So the length of the hairpin you can see from here is um this is 1.1 plus 9.7. So that would be, so all the from here to there would be 9.7 plus 1.1, which is 10.8. So it's going to be 10.8 because all this will have 9.7 and we have 1.1. So I would say it will be 10.8. So I'll go back to my design, double click on it, or just click on it once. You'll find, once you once it is selected, you'll find the parameters on the right hand side. So on this window we have, at the moment the height is 4.4. We want it to be 10.8. So just click, highlight it, and type 10.8. Don't forget it's millimeters. Enter. So now we have it to be the width to be 10.8. We actually want the height to be 10.8, not the width. So I'm going to type the height as 10. 0.8, and the width, we want the width to be 1 millimeter. So I'm just going to type 1.0 or just 1, enter. So now we have our we have one side of the hairpin. Now, for us to duplicate this, we can draw another um, microstrip, but we can just copy, Control V, Control C, copy and paste. So we can just highlight it. Um, um, yeah, Control C will copy and Control V to paste. So we paste that one here. Escape. Right. So here I like to use this line as a guide. So I'll make sure this is on the line, which is 0, 0, 0 line. Right. So the next one, just I'll put this on the line as well. Excellent. All right. So what I need to do now is go back and check the dimension. So if I go back to my guide, I can see that this is 1 millimeter thick. Thickness is 1 millimeter. Okay, and the gap between that point and that point is 2 millimeters. So I'm going to go back. So again, you can see that the width is 1 millimeter. So and of course, from our setting, this line to that point is 1 millimeter. So if that is true, it means I have 1 millimeter. I'm going to move this to this point. So we'll have this gap of 2 millimeters. All right. Now we need to draw another um, rectangle, which is going to be of 2 millimeters to link these two. So I'm going to go back here. You can just do it anywhere, in any space and drag it in, or you can just click on this point here to that point. Before you click, notice that you have already some information showing that the x-axis is 2 with 2 millimeters and 1. So it means it's 2 by 1. So I'll click on this point. Excellent. So now I have my shape. Notice that make sure there's no gap between this figure and that figure, because if you zoom in, right in, you can see that there's no gap. It's very important that there's no gap there. Now I'm going to center my design. Click on center here. So this is what I have. Now I have one of these. Now looking at this design, you see we also have 1, 2, 3. Now instead of drawing 3, I can just copy and paste. So I'm just going to go back here. I can copy this and paste. So I'm going to copy, select it, draw a rectangle to select, Control C, Control V. So I can paste one, paste that one, and paste the second one. Escape. Now I have 3 hairpins. Now notice that the middle hairpin is inverted. Okay, so I'm going to rotate to make sure it looks like that. I select, highlight this one, and again remember Control R. I taught you this last time. So Control R, Control R, and then you have it rotated. So that's what we have. Just make sure they are all lying on the line, as we're using the line as a reference point. So they are all lying there. That's fine. Now we need to measure that gap. If I go back here, we can see that distance between the first two, so the distance, the gap here, we can see it's here we have 1.9. So the gap is 1.9, so 1.9 millimeters. So I'm just going to go back to my design. Make sure that this gap from there to there is 1.9. Now recall that this point to that point is 1. Each of these is which means each of this is 0.2, 4, 6, 8, and so on. Okay, so we have 1.9 means I'm going to move first of all, I can place this at 2. I place this at 2. Remember the snap, so we have it at 2, but I don't want it to be 2. I want 1.9, so I'm going to move this shape by 0.1 to make it 1.9. So I'll highlight this. Now, you cannot move by 0.1 ordinarily because you have steps of 0.2. So we just go to edit, move relative. So we want to move it relative. So move relative. So we want to move this to the left by 0.1, so which is the x-axis. So I'm going to type minus. Don't forget, minus means move to the left and plus is to the right. So I'm going to say minus 0.1. So the y-axis, I leave it the way it is. I'm not moving it up or down. So if I just say OK, so you notice that this has moved 0.1. So now I have 1.9. Excellent. Now I do the same for this. I want it to be 1.9. Again, I'll move this to this point. Actually, this should be 1.9 because I already I've moved this by 1. So this is 24681, 2468, and then 1. So this is 1.9. Okay, so now I have the diagrams where I want them. So the next thing is to draw the input and the output. So I'll go back to my design. So I have the input. Now you can see that this bar is 0.4 millimeters and the input is 1.1. So that's easy. Again, go move back to ADS. So I draw another rectangle. Okay, escape. Sorry, draw a rectangle. Any rectangle, just click, escape. Now set it to height of 10.8, 10.8, just like the hairpin, and then the width should be 0.4, 0.4. Excellent. So now we have 0.4. Now we have the input. I draw the input just like this again. Escape. So this one should be 1.1. The height should be 1.1, 1.1. The width is not really necessary because it's just, yeah, it's not necessary the side, but I normally use 0.6. So if we keep it at 0.6 or 0.5, let's just see if there's a particular value given here for the width. No, so it's not specific. So we leave it at 6. I mean, just so we can have the same distance as 6.0 here. So I'm going to use 6. So I go back to the design. I would like this um to be 6.0. 6.0. Okay, so I have 6.0. Now I attach this to this point here. Excellent. Okay, well attached. And then the gap should be 0.7. 0.7. Don't forget that this diagram is symmetrical, so that means the right hand side and the left hand side are the same. So this is 0.7 means that's also 0.7. So I'm going to go back and make sure it's 0.7. So how do I do that? The easiest way to do this is to just move this to touch this. So now you know it's 0. Then we can move relative. That's the easiest way for me to do it. I can move relative. So I can just click on it, edit, move relative. I want to move it back by 0.7. So I was going to say minus 0.7 millimeters. So if I okay, so now I have 0.7 gap there. All right, so excellent. So now I just move this to touch again. Oh, yes, I have this. All right, so I also need the output, so I can just copy this instead of doing it all over. I just copy it, Control C, and then Control V. So to paste that here, I need to rotate this before I paste it. You can see this symbol here means you can rotate, mirror it about the y-axis. So I want to mirror it about the y-axis. I can just click on this. As soon as you click on this, you see that it's mirrored. So you can now click it, paste it there. Now again, I want this to be 0.7. The gap is 0.7. So I move this again. Make sure I touch the edge. And then I can now move relative. I want to move this to the right, 0.7. I move. So I have it at 0.7. It's fantastic. So now I have everything I need. Now, the next thing the final thing we need to do before this is ready for setup is we need to place the waveguide box. There's a box around the design, and of course the input and output. That's all we need to do, and then our design will be ready. So we'll now go back to the design here. Um, I can put the input, I can do any one first. I can place the box first or the input first. So let's go with the input. It doesn't matter which one. So that's the input in here, insert pin. So if I click on insert pin, now make sure this is toggle to the mid. This is a kind of a toggle button that allows you to snap at the middle. So I'm just going to click on this to make sure I'll snap to the middle of it. You want it to be in the middle, okay? So I'll put in the first pin, then the second pin. So I have my pins 1 and pin 2. And close this or just press escape. Center my design. Now I need to put in that box. For us to put that box, the easiest thing I can do is use the construction line as a guide. I can put it without that, but let's just go. I want to put a construction line at the point where I want the box to be implemented. Now, if I go back to the design, you can see that I want this to be 6 millimeters from the design and 6 millimeters from the design, and of course to touch the input and the output. So to do that, all I need to do is I go back here. I go insert. I want to insert construction line. So you can see construction line. So now just make sure you touch the edge. Just click 1, 2, anywhere. There's no measurement. Anywhere you like, just make sure it's straight line. Click on that. That gives a construction line. It's just a guide. We're going to delete the line later. Do the same here. Click once, 2. All right. That's good. Now we want 6 millimeters. We know that each of these red square is 1 millimeter. If you're not sure of that, you can see when we touch this. So that point to that point, 1 millimeter. Another way to do it is you can just look at this. You see now your y-axis shows you 10.8. So for me to get to 6 millimeters, what do I need? So 10.8 will become 16.8. So I have 10.8. So I need to go to 16.8. Keep going. So now I have 16.8. Now I have 16.8, you see? So I'm going to click there on that point. That gives me another line. On this side, I already know I have 0. I already know this is 0 line for the y-axis. So I'm going to go down to 6.0. 6.0 is that line there. That's 6.0. That point. That point. So I can escape now. So I have this construction line to guide me. Okay, so I'm going to delete this line at the end. I just need it as a guide. Now, for me to include the box, go to EM, click on EM, and then you'll see where it says waveguide box, box waveguide, and then you add box. So click on add box. And then from one vertex of the rectangle to the other vertex, you can form your box. So I'm going to start from this point. Don't forget, I use my mouse, my center mouse to zoom in and out. Yeah. So I click on the center here on one point, and then go to the other vertex and click on that. Excellent. So that gives me my waveguide box. Now I can click on each of these lines now and delete them. I don't need them. I just use them as a guide. I delete this, delete that, delete that. And then I can center my design. Excellent. So now we have finished the design. So we have our design. All we need to do next is in our next video is learn how to simulate this design. At this point, I would like us to end this video because I don't want the video to be too lengthy. We'll end this video at this point, and then we'll have another video where we'll look at how to set up and simulate this design. Thank you for watching, and I hope you've learned something. So we should be able now to use ADS to implement any design that you've made and be able to simulate based on our next video. Please, I'll say this again. I'll be putting in all the videos about ADS on this channel. So if you have not subscribed, just go subscribe to this channel. All you need to do is click on your subscription button and then click on the notification button as well to notify you each time I put in a new video. Thank you for listening, and I hope you've learned something today. Bye bye.